Welcome to another episode of Roll or Die. Today we have one of the OGs of Jiu-Jitsu in Australia. We have had him on once before, but that was in 2020 when Anton and I were still very novice at this podcast thing. So we thought we'd wait another 190 episodes or so to get him back. So now that we are much more experienced and much better at doing this, we thought we would share the goodness that is Anthony Lange. If anybody that doesn't know this guy, I mean, he's one of the pioneers of Jiu-Jitsu in Australia. He pretty much brought Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to Sydney. He's a fourth degree black belt. He has Lange's MMA. He's competed in all over Australia, all over the world, and he's going to share some of that with you today. He's one of the biggest names in Jiu-Jitsu, and we are pleased to have him here on the show with us today. Thanks for joining us, Anthony.
Great introduction. Thanks, Kim. Hi, Anton.
Hey, brother. Man, I tell you what, one of the reasons why you're back on the show for me, and if I just quickly share my screen here, but you were on BJJ Down Under, episode number 1.
Yeah.
They interviewed you, man, and obviously I won't give away the goodness because people need to be a subscriber to get access to this. But it was a really enjoyable watch, man, and quite like a well-produced, excellent kind of, well, it's you and a bunch of others, but a real kind of inquiry into the Australian Jiu-Jitsu scene. What was it like to be, featured and episode number 1 of that series?
I really am glad that I got featured in episode 1. That's very cool. Yeah. And I thought, I don't know if they're going to pull it off and stuff. And it did a good job. It was true to what happened that day, and they presented it really well. So, wow, good on them.
That's
really
awesome.
Yeah. You hit the nail on the head, Anton, because that's exactly what brought Anthony back to the front of my mind. I was like, we've got to share these stories with our listeners again, because when you were first on, Anthony, we had, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 listeners, but I think we're well into the hundreds or even the thousands by now. So we definitely have to share.
Yeah, no, I enjoy whenever you interview people. So I was happy to be back. That's for sure.
Awesome, man. So what's going on for you nowadays? Like now that you're famous and on BJJ Down Under,
now number 1. That's right. Well, I actually around about 2021, the end of 2021, I'd get, for 30 years, I'd get up and go, right, I can't wait to do what I do.
Yep.
And then my mind just started going off onto other things, just growing food and doing all sorts of different things.
Yeah.
And I said in 2022 to the guys, I'm going to shut down the gym.
Wow.
There's a couple of reasons. One, the council after 22 years said you're not zoned to do this here, and no matter what you do, you won't get back. Another guy who ran a gym next door to me spent $70,000 trying to,
wow,
right wrong. Yeah, and I got flooded as well, and so the bottom went, and then I just was upstairs, and then I wanted to travel, and so I told the guys I'm closing the gym on the 15th of December, and you guys have got a year if you want to open your own gym. 2 of my students, Sonny Brown, Nick Pudney, who are fantastic, and Sonny Brown's got he's well known. They said, "Oh, what, you're leaving on the?" Like, they didn't believe me.
Yeah.
So then in August I said, you know what, it's going to come really quickly, and you've got it's a real hassle to do it, because that's the other reason too. Do I want to, spend 50, 60,000, start up another one at 60 years old? And I thought, no, I'm going to do other stuff.
Amazing.
And so on the 15th, I closed the gym and they got it all ready. The last mat was laid and they opened on the 16th, and pretty well 200 of my students just went to Apex MMA, and that's at Brookvale now. Troy, they went to some of the Evolve MMA. So I had 2 black belts in the area, and they all just went to those schools. Yeah,
amazing. So what was that? What opened up for you when you did that? Because a gym is a big responsibility, I guess. And so, yeah, what happened after that? Like, was it mixed feelings, or was it like relief, or what was it all about?
Well, my boys have both grown up. So
Yeah.
I've got two, adult boys, and they got good jobs and doing what they do. And they didn't need me anymore. And I got a van and traveled looking for a year for a place that I wanted to live and stay and
Wow.
start a new episode of my life. In fact, I also train 12 different schools. So I still drop into 12 different schools and a couple others that aren't related to me. When I was going up the coast, I jumped into a couple of others and do some classes and stuff like that. So I'm still out there training. I was just laying some mats just here at my new place today. So, there's training going on. I'm doing some with Alex and Anna are up in the Northern Rivers area. Portal's great. Zarina May, she's up here as well. A few of my old students have got places too that I go and train them and their kids. So I'm a roaming jiu-jitsu instructor, and I've got a fair few other things on the boil too, which are pretty exciting.
Amazing. A true creance,
Wow.
man. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I was going to say you sound like you're like a Ronin, I guess, but then you were their instructor, and so now
Yeah.
you're coming back as a student almost with them when you visit their academies. Is that what you're saying?
No, I go in and do seminars.
Oh,
And
you
so,
do. Oh,
yeah,
right.
so it's nice because they pay me to do that, and so it's great. And I drop into other schools and do seminars. Yeah.
And
Wow.
what's
That's
that done to your
fantastic.
jiu-jitsu game? Like, is your jiu-jitsu kind of evolving differently now, I should say? Like, is something changed as a result of, being able to actually just be free and roam?
Yeah, big difference, because I always felt I had to prove the art. And especially if you hear the stories in the early days, you did have to prove it because people would walk in the door and want to see for real. Now I am the consummate hobbyist.
Mhm.
I only do that. In fact, sometimes I teach seminars without any technique. I'm just teaching them how to roll like a good hobbyist,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
For
I get
fun.
that.
I do now. I only do jiu-jitsu for fun. I don't roll. I had a weight limit at 55 where I wouldn't roll anyone over 100 kilo. And now I've gone down to about 90.
Yeah, no, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, yes.
Yeah.
That still makes you officially a weapon, brother. That's amazing.
And
Yeah,
Anthony,
I'm
for
only
people who,
73. So yeah, 73
yeah,
kilo.
yeah,
Awesome.
you're still giving away a bit. For people who haven't seen you on our previous episode or who haven't seen BJJ Down Under, can you just share a little bit with our listeners on how you found jiu-jitsu, how it all started for you?
Oh, sure. In real life, the first person was that I wrestled who had a decent grade was a brown belt called Henzo Gracie in Wagga Wagga.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy
That
stuff.
seems
And
like a weird mixture of things.
a weird mixture of things. That's exactly right. He came over with Carlos Jr. and John Will, and they did something for a karate group. I can't remember what they call. So the karate group, and that was the only one in New South Wales. So I travelled to Wagga Wagga to wrestle Henzo, and
when was that, Anthony? What year would that have been?
I think that was 89.
Yeah.
80.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
And
go on.
by 94, I sort of started the first classes in Sydney. Yeah.
Wow.
So wait, what happened between 89 and 94? Like, how did you get your jiu-jitsu kind of happening?
Yeah. So I thought, right, well, at the time, seeing there was no information, there was one video, and that's where I got it from, Gracie in Action 1, and that was it. There was no internet. There was some magazines, and I thought, well, grappling's grappling, and I think I did JKD grappling, Larry Hartzell's sort of thing, which is sort of like Shudo. And then did some traditional Japanese jiu-jitsu, and it sort of worked in the backyard with a couple of mates. And then I went down to John Will's probably, and they just got destroyed. It meant nothing. All the traditional stuff meant nothing really, and the black belts that I had in previous martial arts meant nothing. So yeah, once you hit Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it was a completely different thing. So I would have done as many seminars as I could, and then just started as a blue belt. Once I got a equivalent to a blue belt, yeah, at the time.
Amazing. I'm thinking about this, right? Like I rolled against a traditional Japanese jiu-jitsu person not that long ago. Maybe, I don't know, a year ago or something. And they did Brazilian jiu-jitsu as well. And one thing I will say is I think that these other arts now, they're all kind of merging a little bit. And there are some very nice like wrist lock techniques, for example, in Japanese jiu-jitsu that go next level. You know what I mean? There are some things that some of these arts have that when blended with Brazilian jiu-jitsu, they're a nice they add an extra piece of spice to the Brazilian jiu-jitsu, I feel. And
I do use all those because I learnt them first, and so I have worked out ways of making them useful. But but Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu had the controls. So when and in the meantime too, I found Sambo guys, I found Judo guys, I found traditional Jiu-Jitsu schools, and honestly, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at that time beat all of them.
Right.
Yeah. Just hands down, all of them. I can tell funny stories actually. I'll tell a story about it. I'll tell the Sambo story, guy. There was me and another guy called Rocky, and Roman was there. He may even be listening to this episode because we used to train with them. We're learning all their leg locks and throws. So we wanted to know what they were doing because we were impressed with their things. They knew leg locks, we didn't. And they were good at throws. They were really good at throws. And a lot of the judo guys were great at throws. And I did wrestling with all the YMCAs and police boys clubs at the time. And so this huge guy, Eugene, who was 100 kilo. And again, Rocky was 70. And so they have a match in the gi, and Rocky chokes him out. And Eugene goes, right, in Russia, we don't wear the gi. So a little bit harder, beats him. And then he goes, oh, in Russia, we also like to strike when we do it. And Rocky goes, okay, let's go. And he got a hit really hard a couple of times and gets him, chokes him out. And there was no more in Russia on that one. So it was great.
Russia, we like to do this naked.
But also everyone was quite good stand-up fighters or had done that was at my school. The joke was there was no beginners in the early days. They'd travel from everywhere. And poor person, there was a girl who came and trained and one guy who was nearby. And the other joke was I was the only guy from the area. Everyone else traveled. And so they were all pretty handy in any case. You know, they were good fighters in any case.
That's epic, man. Epic. Kimmy, have you got the next question lined up?
Well, so I guess going then to the other side of things, can you tell us a bit, Anthony, on how jiu-jitsu's evolved in Australia, the changes that you've seen, like it's got to be over 30 years that you've been doing it.
30 years. 30 odd years, yeah, it's crazy that I've been really involved in it. So I started the first competition. It was called Submission Grappling Association, and we had the first matches in Sydney, 70 people. So that was in 94, and we competed then. Other things that we ran tournaments, and so the tournament scene's completely different. It was there was Elvis and Anthony and myself and Marcelo and Bruno and Paulo, and then we all got together and started a competition. And that was sort of like the first, that was New South Wales Association. And that's what it was called. It still is today. And, we'd do it. And there was, I don't know if anyone remembers, but there was a big accident. Insurance was incredibly expensive. So we said, well, we don't want to be involved in the
Oh no,
I think it still
frozen.
is too.
Frozen.
And
We
Okay.
got 1 second, Anthony. We don't want to be
oh, here we
involved
go.
in,
I
and
froze.
then you froze.
We're losing you. It's chopping in and out. I don't know if it's your
Yeah,
Wi-Fi.
I'm in a remote area, so
Okay.
it does drop in and out every now and
Okay.
again. So,
Oh,
yeah.
good.
Yeah. So you said
yeah.
insurance was ridiculously expensive, and we didn't want to be involved in.
Yeah, and the Brazilians said, "Don't worry, we'll do it because we'll just go if something happens." They haven't. They're all great. Yeah, they're all great. So there was no Brazilians in Sydney until 2000. That's crazy, but that's the truth. And so as soon as it came, we started up thing. There was 3 black belts, and they all moved into my suburb, and we're all still really good friends. In between having major fights in the early days. And what happened? Yeah. So they ended up just taking over, and they'd do the draws. They'd go to their unit in Harwood, Marcelo's unit, Marcelo Rendes, and they'd go, right, oh, I got my guy, I got your guy. So Paul would go, no, put that one there, and then stick the I think the only other school was Machado. So there was 4 different schools then, and then that happened for a year, and then I got them to start up Events BJJ, and we'd make an improvement, and then they'd make an improvement, and then it just got it. It ended up that the international federation started using things that we were doing. Right. Because we were so competitive to make our tournament better than theirs. And every time they did something, we'd do it. And anytime they did something good, we'd do it. And that went on for ages. And it became, so the tournament scene became really good. And they ended up, I felt, doing a better job. And so I just said, well, I don't think we need Events BJJ anymore. But the other guys wanted to keep it going, so 2 guys kept going, and I just gave that. It was a company by then. I just gave that away. So tournaments from really like bad, nearly fights on the mat, refereeing where you just wear shorts and t-shirt to today that are fantastic. They're really good. I think the tournaments these days. Yeah.
Okay, I'm noticing a pattern here, and I like the pattern. It's like I can learn a lot from you. The pattern that I'm seeing is, I'm just putting my phone on Do Not Disturb because it's making noises. The pattern is you can build something and then give it away, right? Like you've done that with your gym. You did this with this other company. And like I really struggle with that. And I would love to know your mindset. Like for example, with me right now, I'm on the decline, right? Like I competed on the weekend. I got choked twice. And the third match I was dominating, but the guy got 2 points on me in the beginning and I couldn't get out of his half guard, even though I was dominating for the entire match, really. But I couldn't break through his half guard. But I just anyway, regardless, I couldn't win. I lost 3 matches in a row and I'm so attached to that. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, but you're building big companies and giving them away. I think that there's something I can learn from you, man. So how do you give up your attachment to these things?
Okay. First off, I did 2 other gyms as well, which I sold on. So sometimes I sell them, and in fact, they paid me stuff from Events BJJ as well. So yeah, at certain ages, you are going to feel that decline. That's right. Probably at 45, you're going to feel something. You'll feel every 5 years, something else will happen. I remember competing in the, adult matches at 10 minutes. And I'd do okay in the first match, but there's no way I'm going to be any good in the second 10-minute match. It's just, oh God. So I'm 61 now, and I don't feel like competing. So you have to make jiu-jitsu as you've got to get something out of every roll. So if you're rolling, you want to get something out of it. The other person should try and get something out of it too. That's it. And so when I give away something, it's because I've come to the end of what I wanted to achieve in that, and it's giving me nothing more that I want. And so I let that go because it's not really giving me what I want.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that. I really like that. Thank you, brother.
That makes sense.
I actually used to play in bands too, and I did the same thing there. I just one day I went, no, I'm not playing spinning.
Yeah, even though you got paid for giving away some of these other things, even to build something and sell it is difficult for me. You know what I mean? Like I like to kind of hoard what I create or what I build. I don't know what for. So man, like I'm sensing this freedom, this roaming traveler in you.
Yeah.
You're at a point in your life, like I'm looking to you for. I could be doing that when I'm 61. I could easily be doing that. It's only 11 years away, and I see that. I see that. Yeah, that looks like an awesome.
It's very scary. It's very scary, and it's a big leap of faith. And that leap of faith has to be within yourself too, that you could create it in life, regardless of whatever happened.
Yeah.
And so it's a big leap of faith, and you've got to have a fair bit of self-confidence to let things go. It is scary. Yeah.
Love
And
it.
Anthony, you mentioned that you're not competing anymore, but have you got any funny stories about the times when you did, like particularly when you're competing in Japan, for instance, or any of the early comps in Australia?
Oh, we go.
I've also got this because this is part of BJJ Down.
Yeah.
I've got a little bit of Anthony competing here.
Yeah, that's in Japan.
Oh, there we go.
That's right. Mars took the footage. He did a good job on the footage too.
So when would this have been, Anthony? What year, roughly?
It would have been Japan, might have been 2018.
Okay. Oh, that's not that long ago then.
No, that's right. 2019, I was in Europe, and I actually won the Opens, and that is a funny one because everything went my match was at 10 o'clock at night. And I'd seen the heavyweights fight, and then they got injured and they couldn't compete. And I ended up competing I was thinking, gee, I'm going to be sore fighting any one of those guys. But I've come all the way, so I'll go in the Open. And as it was, the other guy was that I ended up having the match with was, in a weight division, just one up or one down. Like that guy in Japan, he was one up as well. So not 2 or 3 divisions up. So that was good. I won that match. And I won in the European in Barcelona too in 2019. And that was how I won the Open. The 2 heavyweights got injured, and the other one won, and the other one couldn't keep going. So that was good. But it was 10 o'clock at night too. So
do you expect you're going to win when you compete? Like, do you go out there going, I'm going to win? Or do you go out there going, I'm going to do my jiu-jitsu and something's going to happen? It's going to go one way or the other. Like, what is your mindset going into competing, even though it's not what you're doing so much of anymore?
Yeah. So the only thing you've got control of is your preparation. So I would always do really good preps. I would train hard and make sure I felt ready to compete. I did win the Worlds in 2014, and at that time I didn't know what I was going up with because I hadn't competed for a while. Because I was running 3 gyms and I sold 2 of them, and then I had a year to really start training. So 2012 I sold those, and then I thought, I thought I was going to lose, to be honest. So I didn't care. I was just going to get in there and do the best I could. So and I won, and I won again. And so so
that's
it was.
That is good. That's good feedback, because like there's a lot of people going, you can't just go, I'm going to do the best I can. You got to go in there going, I'm going to be a killer. But no, you've got in there going, I think I'm going to lose, but I'm going to do the best I can, and you win the Worlds. So there you go.
Yeah, because I do the prep. I do the prep. I know I'm as good as I can be. And what are they going to be? So when I've lost matches, you hate yourself when you make the mistake of and you've made a mistake. It's your fault. But sometimes you have a match with someone and they're just better than you.
Yeah.
They beat you by, they're doing something a second before you, and then that's, a split second, then it's a full second, and then it's, then you're on the back foot the whole way, and you can't catch up. And if you had maybe more matches, then they're still going to beat you. So
that's exactly what happened to me this weekend. The guy was just better.
Yeah, and that sucked. But there's nothing you can do about that. There's just people that are better than you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Anthony, you competed in Valet Tudo as well. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep, that's right.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, wow, that was so long ago. So I competed in Australia, and the event that I competed in, a pro event, was called Val Judo in Japan as well. So Val Judo so the MMA wasn't even a coin thing until 2001, I think. So before that, it was Val Judo, no holds barred, free fight. That's it. That's all it was called. So yeah, and they were 8-minute rounds, and there was 3 of them. There was crazy stuff. It was always crazy. And then I had to fight in one of them in Australia. If you won, you kept going.
Right. Yeah. Like UFC 1, basically. Or and those first few UFCs, yeah.
That's right.
Like a kumite.
So, wait, this was like around 2000. So you were already somewhere around 40 years of age. Is that right?
No, this was I competed in 95, 96, 97.
But you were in your late 30s by then.
That's right. Maybe I was. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You don't give a flying.
That's pretty hard on the body, yeah? Or like how did you go?
I'd still heal very fast in my 30s. So I was feeling pretty good in my 30s, that's for sure.
It's funny when you hear people whinge about their age, and they're like 32 or 33. It's like, dude, you're younger than I was when I started. But anyway,
that's right. That's right. I would have started. I think I was in my early 30s in any case. And my dog's dreaming and he's barking. I just got to kick him. Hey, he starts dreaming. Because I would do that for free, sort of thing. And then when I found out I'd get paid, I'm like, yeah, great. That's really good. Of course, I had to fight at 70 kilos. At that time, I couldn't get over 65. So I was always fighting up, except when I fought in Japan. I had to drop a little bit. So the guy I fought in Japan is a 63 kilo fight or something like that. Yeah.
Wow, man.
And John Machado was on the same card. It's very cool. It's very cool.
So nowadays, like on YouTube and wherever else, we see like bare knuckle fighting and all of these sorts of things. And it feels like they're brand new, but they're not really. Is it like things were really violent and then things got more controlled and more set up for the mainstream, and then the mainstream wanted something more diverse again, so then it got more violent again? Is that what's happening here? Like Valet Tudo, do you wear gloves and stuff like that, or like how controlled is it?
They just would give you any sort of glove. They were only less than 4 ounce gloves.
Right. Yeah. So just like driving gloves. Driving gloves.
You would feel your knuckles going straight into their head. Yeah.
Wear these dishwashing gloves. You'll be right.
That's pretty well right. That's right. I've got the fingers cut out, so that's all cool. Yeah. And there was chain link fence like that.
Wow.
And I picked the guy up and threw it, and he landed. I landed on him. He landed there. My arm was on that chain link fence. So on one of my Val Judo fights, I sort of fractured my arm.
Wow.
And yeah.
Wow, man. Amazing.
And a headbutt, you'd headbutt them. It was all systems go. Yeah.
Headbutt to the nuts. Whatever you want, all legal.
And then I was in a Shuto fight, which had a lot of rules, and that was in Japan. And Japan is, you don't break the rules in Japan. No. But I went to headbutt him, and I couldn't really stop it, so I just missed his head and just headbutted him in the chest. And that whole night, it was like, this Australian's headbutting in a match. I just thought, oh yeah, it was cool. just normal for me. So.
A chest headbutt. I like it, man. You're inventing moves.
Yeah. Oh no, I shouldn't be doing that, but I couldn't place.
Could have pretended
Yeah.
you were bowing. You could have. You could have.
Yeah.
A lot of things you could have done. Oh man, so good, so good. Wow, it's been amazing having you on. We've only got 5 minutes left. Kim, where do you think we should go?
We do. So, I mean, you are, as I said, one of the most experienced jiu-jitsu people in Australia. Have you got any words of wisdom, any advice for our listeners, particularly those who might be struggling? You know, jiu-jitsu is a really hard journey. What words of advice can you offer?
Yeah, everyone who's good at it is a bit crazy. And really but so many people really enjoy it. And I learned off them, all my students, going, oh, well, they're just having a great time. And so I ended up just doing jiu-jitsu only to have a good time. Every time you have a roll, try and get something out of it. And if you're not getting something out of it, work out a way to get something out of it. Also, when you're on the top, yes, it's good fun. And when you're underneath, there's always the best thing to do.
Right.
What is the best thing to do? What's the most efficient thing for me to do? So whether you're underneath, on top, what's the best move? That's what I do jiu-jitsu like that every move. So what's the most efficient move that I could possibly do right now? And that's what I usually try and do. And I don't care whether I'm winning or losing. It's always the same problem.
I love that, man. In fact, that's going to be the title of the show, I'm pretty sure. There's always the best thing to do right now.
Yeah.
I love that, man. That's
true. And I mean, that's true off the mats as well for you by the sound of it. Yeah. So like the best thing for you to do was to close your gym and become a grey nomad.
Yeah, that's right.
Not even
that's
that
right.
grey, actually. I don't think grey.
Don't dye your hair, but there is actually a fair bit of grey in there. But yeah, I'm pretty lucky. It's those Danish genes. I think I'm a black-haired, you know, and it just, my mum said that it was the same for her and her dad. So I'm lucky, and hopefully that'll continue for a little bit longer. But
Awesome.
Yeah.
You rock, Anthony. So great to have you on, man.
Thank you very much. Great to talk to you.
Probably have this out. I think it might be by the new year, by the time I've got a couple of others banked up. But if you could share it, I believe you've got a pretty big following. So, and I know that a lot of our audience would love to hear you. Anybody wants to go back, I think it's like about episode 10 or something where you were on before, where Anton and I were a bit hopeless with our podcasting. Look at us now, we're a professional unit. We've got it all down. So yeah, you can go back and compare. And yeah, we love what you've done for jiu-jitsu in Australia. Thank you so much. As I said, you're pretty much a pioneer. Without you, who knows what would have been for the Sydney scene especially. But yeah, thanks again for giving up your time. And yeah, enjoy. We look forward to seeing you on the mats.
Wonderful. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Kim. Thanks, Anton.
Cheers.
Merry Christmas.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.